I could have invested more. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Of course, as always, I am your humble host, Niko House. Today is Wednesday, January 13th, 2021 and 3:14 p.m. Why am I bringing this up? Because it's a very important day. This is the day that the mask will be completely pulled off from one of the leaders, so-called, of the progressive movement. And this leader is Nomiki Konst. Now, a lot of you all already know who Nomiki is. I need to put my glasses on. I'm over here playing like I can see. But a lot of you already know who Nomiki is. She used to work on the Young Turks. Before that, she was known as somebody who was considered to be the youngest congressional candidate in the country. That turned out to be a lie. She actually never ran for office. She actually never even really filed. And this was exposed a while ago. And in fact, I actually know the youngest candidate to run for congressional office in the country. She actually is from California. And my brother is friends with her. And she used to be a Bernie surrogate, funny enough. But that's a lot of people give Nomiki this clout that she never really deserved, because she was on the Unity Commission, which she was only on because the Young Turks put her there, right? She didn't really have the bona fides like she claimed she did. She just was put there. She doesn't know anything about strategy, but she sold herself as this person who was an expert on party politics and political discourse in general. All right. Now, Nomiki's been on this tirade lately. Not only Nomiki, but this very specific wing of the quote-unquote left has been on this tirade lately, where they've been attacking Jimmy Dore maliciously. They've been attacking me maliciously. They've been attacking Fiorella maliciously. And of course, as always, their little peon trolls follow them. And I've said, even after I had this debate last night, because this person that is this white supremacist, I debated last night. And I said after the debate, talking to my audience, because I know a lot of people are like, Niko, I don't understand why. It's hard to see, I guess, for some people, because if you haven't had to deal with racism your entire life, you might think, because of what movies in Hollywood have told you, that racism looks like what you see in these movies, just reflective of what's happened in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. No, that's not what racism looks like in 2021 or 2010. Well, it's vague, it's condescending. It is dog whistles. So dog whistles from the right sound a little bit different from dog whistles from the left. When it's a dog whistle on the left, you'll hear the words like narcissist, egotistical, angry, right? Loud. Urban is one I learned from one of my old roommates. I didn't know that was a thing. My old white roommate told me that urban was one. So they don't sound the same like they used to. And the racism isn't the same as it used to be. And this is why I've said, even yesterday in a tweet, not even knowing about this, I said it's hilarious that people actually believe that our government is doing anything whatsoever to rein in white supremacy, and all of a sudden they care about racism, because historically speaking, our government is engaged in more systemic racism than any other government in the world for the longest amount of time in the world. Like, they just won't stop. And I said that the people pretending otherwise either don't care, or they know and they don't care. Because they themselves are at the bare minimum racially apathetic, or at worst a literal white supremacist, and they are choosing to exclude and suppress voices of color and black voices and indigenous voices because they don't want us to tell the truth. And so today we're gonna be telling some truth. All right. So this person I debated yesterday, her name is Andrea. She's a transsexual. She's a Bernie supporter. And Nomiki is awfully fond of her. Now, Andrea was saying some weird stuff yesterday during the debate. First of all, she claimed that Fiorella, in a video where she basically is saying that Fiorella is a fascist. She claimed that Fiorella takes money, and this got addressed yesterday in the debate. So let me go ahead and pull this up for y'all. My coworker Fiorella is taking some Republican money. Like, I want to be as nice as possible. No, you said this in the video. You said this in the video. You said someone was found guilty in the court of law for destroying the ballots because the machine count was not actually reflective of the balance that had been counted, and she knew it. Had to pay him, and then eventually the later year she tried to cheat again and was fired because of that. This is not like, this isn't conspiracy theory. This is like the norm. It's just like, you don't read about it, so you don't know about it, but it happens very often. I'm an election integrity activist. I was a co-founder of the lawsuit. I witnessed us go all the way up to the Supreme Court only for us to hit Clarence Thomas to decide whether or not it's going to be heard right as Joe Biden. I'm sure you appreciate the undertone of that relationship. Like that happened right as we got to the Supreme Court. So of course it got killed because Joe Biden protected Clarence Thomas. This is the corruption of our system. And also, like this, Dave Rubin answer. No. So first of all, like I need you to understand this too, because I don't think you realize. Like I get the reason you're saying, because you said my coworker Fiorella is taking some Republican money. Like I want to be as nice as possible. You said this in the video. You said this in the video. You said she's taking money. She must be taking money to divide the left. It's bullshit. You don't see a blue
I don't think I would say
this.
I may have said that, but I may have also added context before and after to say I don't know this. That it's
they might be paying her through Super Chats or Patreon, and she just doesn't know. Like that's.
I think that's very possible. Yeah.
No, it's not possible because she's on my network. I know.
But you don't know.
No, I do know where. No. I know where
that money comes from.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you, I literally know where her money comes from.
So you know individually every single YouTube account.
Listen,
you know them.
That's what I'm saying. You know
where they get paid.
You're not listening. You without substantiation.
Right.
Because you're talking about personal attacks. So I just want to address this because without substantiation, you're claiming that a leftist who doesn't have a blue check, who started from literally scratch, is taking money to divide the left whenever TYT, for example, just took 20
I don't care
million.
about TYT. I don't care. I don't like them. I don't care about them.
Listen, that's not my point. My point is there are people. So if I say something like that, I have to have evidence, which we do have somebody dedicated to that because that's an important issue. You can't allege someone is taking money from people without substantiating that claim because it builds a barn fire that you can't put out. TYT we have all the information, all the documentation.
I don't care about TYT.
Hold on. Can I finish my statement, please? That's not the point. TYT is just the example I'm using because I'm saying we have the information to prove exactly where they're getting their money from. My point is, if you're not going to say that about actual people with actual power and actual influence and actual venture capitalism and actual verifiable proof that they are taking that money, don't say that about up and coming progressives just because you don't like what they have to say. Fiorella's not sowing division on the left. She's out here trying to warn you because you just talked about your account getting banned and you're talking about censorship and she's trying to defend you. So why would that mean she's dividing the left by trying to ask you to, hey, pay attention because this isn't about them. This is about us, the left, is what I'm saying. So. All right. So like you just heard, she didn't deny, like she denied. No. Like when I told her, like, yeah, I saw the video. Like, so I'm not, this isn't, because she gets all her information from Twitter. So I was like, no, I saw the video. And once again, I said there's been this weird obsession with white progressives. They're like addicted to attacking Fiorella, who is a Latino woman who actually very often speaks about her experiences as an immigrant. And then she's attacking me, right? And Bree too. Bree's been going through this as well. Jimmy as well, but it's a different type of thing with Jimmy. They just attack Jimmy because Jimmy's popular as shit and they hate it. But like the type of attacks we get, right? That she must be taking money. She must be too stupid to know someone is trying to influence her with super chat money, which is like the most ridiculous argument ever. But I'm like, okay. So that was like a weird thing off rip. Like the fact that she would just deny that shit like there's not a whole video up. I was like, okay, there's some weird shit going on. So then this thing was said. This weird shit was said towards the end.
The primary is a disaster. I personally think that backing Tulsi when she polled at like 2% instead of Bernie when he could have possibly won, I think that's a bad move. I would say that that's a blemish on what otherwise is a relatively decent looking biography that you've got there. Again, I would also say that Tulsi is like, she's gone. She's out. Now, like, if you want to go in her 2024 Republican primary run, go for it. And I wish the best for you.
Do you once again, do you want to throw personal attacks at politicians? Because once again, you're trying to defend a man.
Well, you're defending a politician.
No, pause. So you just say you're a trans person. Okay, cool. Yes. So why, if you care that,
such as the donation.
Because they're not, because based off of policy, they're not. And that's fine, but I'm not
strategy,
policy.
And there's a core difference.
Even
we
if
agree on the policy.
About policy, you're still
about
saying,
strategy.
Even as the question is about policy, you're still making about da-da-da versus Tulsi, da-da-da versus da-da-da.
It's about strategy. The whole conversation is
strategy. Have a chance to influence that policy, so what does it matter? We're talking about this policy right here. Stop deflecting, stop pretending like these people are your allies, because they're not. Because based off of policy, they're not. And that's fine, but I'm not saying that you can never be allied with them. I'm not saying you can never work with them. I'm not saying you can't even like them as a person. But like, let's not pretend these people are something they're not, and then pretend Tulsi something she isn't. Because once again, character difference is, if you want to like link that to policy and consistency, like yeah, Tulsi makes mistakes. Bernie and AOC are making calculated moves to undermine the left, work with neoliberals and neocons, and once again pretend as if it is okay to elect a literal segregationist, warmongering, sex pest, author of the 94 crime bill, author of the Patriot Act, two bills that are still haunting us to this very day and that are both about to get ramped up.
Again, you've said that like 5 times. So, I mean, hey, if you're not taking money for it, you should ask someone for a paycheck. You've got...
Did y'all hear that? So after I said, because remember her biggest, Tulsi introduced a trans, but they always got a different excuse, right? Because we know at this point, I feel like all of us who are paying attention know it's not about Tulsi. It's about Tulsi. It's not about her legislation. It's about Tulsi. Because like I said earlier in that video, I'm like, you did not care when she introduced a legislation that made trans people protected class, right? You didn't care about that. Even like she was part of the effort to get trans people not banned from the military. Like you didn't care about that either. But now you don't like her because of by the way, because I don't even like Tulsi's bill, but it doesn't affect, like this woman doesn't play sports at all. This particular piece of trans legislation doesn't affect her at all. And the legislation that did affect her, I mean, existentially, like not even just her, like every trans person, they all have protection under the equal or civil rights amendments because of a bill Tulsi introduced. So like, I was like, oh, hold up. This don't make no sense. And now when it comes to an issue of race, this is how she responded. Did you hear that? Hold on.
So, I mean, hey, if you're not taking money...
People like myself are divisive, but I'm talking about the policy still. And even as we're talking about policy...
Well, actually, you're not talking about policy. You're talking about strategy, policy. And there's a core difference.
Even we agree on the policy. About policy, you're still saying, even as the question is about policy, you're still making about da-da-da versus Tulsi, da-da-da versus da-da-da.
It's about strategy. The whole conversation is strategy.
Have a chance to influence that policy, so what does it matter? We're talking about this policy right here. Stop deflecting. Stop pretending like these people are your allies, because they're not. Because based off of policy, they're not. And that's fine, but I'm not saying that you can never be allied with them. I'm not saying you can never work with them. I'm not saying you can't even like them as a person. But like, let's not pretend these people are something they're not, and then pretend Tulsi's something she isn't. Because once again, character difference is, if you want to like link that to policy and consistency, like yeah, Tulsi makes mistakes. Bernie and AOC are making calculated moves to undermine the left, work with neoliberals and neocons, and once again pretend as if it is okay to elect a literal segregationist, warmongering, sex pest, author of the 94 crime bill, author of the Patriot Act, two bills that are still haunting us to this very day and that are both about to get ramped up.
Again, you've said that like 5 times. So, I mean, hey, if you're not taking money for it, you should ask someone for a paycheck.
Okay. Did y'all hear that? Am I crazy? So that wouldn't make y'all a little bit suspect. When I pointed this out yesterday on my stream, people, Jose, thank you very much for the super chat. And common sense ain't all that common. So I said this last night, and the people who be knowing, they knew what time it was when she said that. But somebody did their due diligence who was like, okay, this is a little bit weird. Cause she, like, think about it. In the same breath, she hated Tulsi because, like, hated the person who has who's no longer in power because of one bill. I'm like, segregationist over here. Person, your guy lied for, campaigned for, pretend it's going to be the next FDR. Oh yeah, segregationist. I don't really care all that much about that. Okay, cool. So let's examine why she doesn't care that much about that. Because I got some screenshots over here. That's going to be a little bit difficult for you to see. But, matter of fact, it's going to be difficult for me to see too. So let me pull this over here so we can zoom in a bit. Y'all see this? What did I say? That little N-word deserved what he got. Ferguson decision. Debate me. Wow. That's crazy. Reminder to go get the fuck out and go back to the forest, you dirty little apes. Ferguson decision. Debate me. What's wrong with black women? Most of them look like apes. Then you see this part about Jewish people right here. I'm not even gonna repeat that out loud. Good God. That's crazy. Okay. This is before the transition. MFW, some N-word on SNG, I'm assuming Signal maybe, calls me a casual racist. Now, I don't want to, I don't want to, this is what he said, MFW. Some, and you see it, it's right here. Okay, cool. All right. Now, because I wanted to make sure I did my due diligence, I didn't want to just accuse somebody. I got confirmation. I said, somebody want to explain these to me, please? And she admitted, this is her. 4chan shit post from 7 years. This ain't 4chan, by the way. This is Twitter. This is Twitter. Dumb shit. Very, very gross stuff. Very, very gross. No, this ain't very, very gross stuff. This is very, very rapist stuff. This is, racist. Keep thinking rapist because she supports Joe Biden. But, so you admit it. All this is you. But you don't like Tulsi because of one bill? But Jimmy Dore's the problem for holding AOC accountable for healthcare? But this is the person who did a video dedicated to Fiorella. One tweet from Fiorella calling Fiorella a fascist sympathizer, and then at some point made a comment about me being a literal neo-Nazi or knowing somebody who's a literal neo-Nazi, and turns out, what a surprise, Miss Andrea is actually a literal neo-Nazi. That's crazy. And all of a sudden, when she gets her transition, now she's a Democrat. I guess you thought she wouldn't be all that accepted on the other side, huh? Had to switch it up a little bit, change some of that rhetoric up. Interesting. Now to my favorite part. Just by happenstance, Nomiki did a video where she actually said that fascists have infiltrated the movement, and this video even talked about Fiorella once again. And look what's in the thumbnail. Look what's in the thumbnail. That's crazy, because this video was done a few days ago. Wow. Hey, I don't know if Nomiki knows this, but that's a white supremacist in your thumbnail. And you did a video saying fascists have infiltrated the movement. And I don't think it was meant to be satirical, but this almost looks like satire, Nomiki. Now, in the middle of the debate, guess what she does? Because Nomiki, she can't never confront her own demons, so to speak. So Nomiki, in the middle of the debate, pops in on Miss Andrea's stream. Miss White Supremacist stream. Isn't that crazy? Let me pull this up for you once again. Because not only does she thinks that that's a good person to emulate, because she even used her in a thumbnail, used her tweet to attack people like myself and Fiorella and others. And hold up, no wait, I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up for y'all real quick. investigative journalist. But then once I find those answers, organizing around them to make sure that we can do things like force the vote. If you think it's funny to talk about the fact that when Jackson Hinkle organized this event and then you went out there for Medicare for all, that's an indictment on you. That's an indictment on people like Nomiki, who's in your comment section right now, who said that Jimmy Dore is funded by Steve Bannon with absolutely no proof whatsoever. That's a ludicrous statement. So she's more worried about Jimmy Dore than getting you health care. And this is the problem, because everybody wants to talk about organizing. So I just want to make sure, I didn't want to pull up her super chat because that's like extra. I'm not about to do that. But yeah, nobody denied that, right? Because they were excited, right? Nomiki's in my comment section. I want you to hear it again. All right. Once again, I don't want nobody to.
I've been
lying.
I've organized
more in a 2-week time frame than you've probably organized in ever. So like
that's probably true.
This whole idea that you somehow have the answers when I've literally been on the ground, not only finding the answers as an investigative journalist, but then once I find those answers, organizing around them to make sure that we can do things like force the vote. If you think it's funny to talk about the fact that when Jackson Hinkle organized this event and then you went out there for Medicare for all, that's an indictment on you. That's an indictment on people like Nomiki, who's in your comment section right now, who said that Jimmy Dore is funded by Steve Bannon with absolutely no proof whatsoever. That's a ludicrous statement. So she's more worried about Jimmy Dore than getting you health care. And this is the problem, because everybody wants to talk about organizing. AOC wants to talk about organizing. You're talking about organizing. Everybody wants to talk about organizing. But when the organizers get to organizing, y'all are nowhere to be found. Y'all are still behind YouTube and behind your camera.
Well,
Okay. So I let it play a little bit longer so y'all could hear. No one denied anything. So yeah, she did give the super chat because I saw it. Everybody was cheering for her in her little chat section. So not only is Nomiki elevating white supremacists in her videos, and literal fascists, right? I mean, you saw the comments. That's beyond white supremacy. Like, she was uplifting a fascist paramilitary assault on black people that we saw in Ferguson. But Nomiki is also donating to this type of garbage. It's almost as if birds of a feather flock together. It is almost like this is actually normal. Even as a person who she claims to be an anti-fascist, right? I said, I doubt that Antifa will be at the inauguration. Because, like, look at this Jacob Blake decision, right? They were nowhere to be found. They were nowhere to be found. After the Breonna Taylor decision before the election, they were everywhere. Riots broke out again. After the election, Antifa was nowhere to be found. At this event in D.C., Antifa, for some reason, was nowhere to be found. Fiorella said this in the last video. They were looking for him because at these events, they always interview both the Antifa side and the MAGA side. And she just shrugged it off. She was like, I don't buy that Joe Biden's a fascist. Maybe because you are a fascist sympathizer yourself. Maybe because that's who you always been. She said that was from 7 years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, Ferguson was not 7 years ago. It wasn't. It was like 5.5 at the most. I was still in college, so I know it wasn't 7 years ago. And yet, so she was a grown adult. She made her transition and realized, oh shit, I don't think that I can be a Nazi and still be a transsexual person who doesn't have to fear for her lives. So she decided to change her tune, try to make a little bit of money off of it. This is what y'all doing, Nomiki. This is what y'all doing over there in the Majority Report. It's funny to me. So now we can get into the nitty gritty of. Oh, real quick, matter of fact. So eventually, so she tried to gaslight, right? Andrea did. She tried to gaslight because she knew this was coming. And my people, because she wanted to start lying about me, and you know how that shit goes. My people were like, yo, what's going on? Why you acting like you care about these issues, and yet, you're kind of a fascist yourself? And this person gaslighted immediately. Because she said, hold on, let me see if I can find another tweet too, matter of fact. Get y'all both of them. Oh no, I don't think I had a tweet. Anyway, so basically, she said in this tweet above, she was like, "Oh, Niko House's group reminds me of 4chan Kiwi Farms." Projection, like I said. What did she say about those tweets? Oh, it's just some 4chan garbage. So you was just out here hanging on 4chan? I thought that's where the white supremacists hang out. Interesting. And then somebody asked her, Kiwi Farms, like, what the hell is that? I had no idea what it is either. She says, white supremacist website about doxing and trying to murder trans women. So y'all think my audience, the black guy, is actually part of some super secret white supremacist website? See, I'm not sure. See, this is, now y'all starting to get why they hate me and Fiorella so much. Because do you hear how fucking stupid this sounds? Do you see how stupid this looks? This attack, like, so if Jimmy would be doing this right now, this attack might actually hold up. Not because Jimmy is a white supremacist, but because Jimmy is a older white male. But when you say something like this about a young black guy or a young Latino woman, it don't really have quite the sting that it's supposed to have. That sting that you're supposed to get, like, oh no, don't say that about me. It don't really work as well. But somehow she managed to make herself the victim, knowing that this was maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. She told me this morning that she was on 4chan and her comments were some 4chan garbage. You can't make this shit up, bro. And so this clearly is a theme that we are beginning to see. Because Nomiki, I could read the racist undertones from a mile away while debating her. The condescension. She tried to question my bona fides. She was like, oh well, I don't know what your bona fides are for organizing. It doesn't sound like you have that many. Like, no, that she just read my bio. And then I said, I'm like, I've literally done more organizing in the 2-week time frame than you've done in your entire life. And she's like, oh, I agree. But she was condescending. And she began personally attacking me, personally attacking Tulsi. And I told people before, the hate towards Tulsi is largely about her being a Polynesian Hindu woman. It has nothing to do with her. She's not allowed to evolve. Only white supremacist Nazis are allowed to evolve in their positions. Isn't that crazy how that works? That's crazy how that works. But then Nomiki is uplifting white supremacists. I'm sure she'll still have some type of base. People will not be afraid to be seen with her as much as they should be. This is the part where usually you get excommunicated from the movement. But she won't be, okay? Jank is a literal racist, as Jimmy Dore exposed. Literal racist. Not like kind of racist. I mean, like, organizationally. Allows his organization to be ran racistly. Gets an official complaint to the Labor Department. Doesn't matter. He's still here. He's still being uplifted. Don't get me started on the fact that he used to be a Republican and was about the most sexist asshole you could fucking find. And somehow he survives it. Just manages to come back. I mean, AOC lied about terrorism. No, AOC isn't white, but AOC is what people would call not necessarily white passing, but she's a familiar. You know what I'm saying? Like what's that boy's name? Hakeem Jeffries. He's black, but he's a familiar. In other words, he's gonna do whatever he can to uplift the white neo-progressive or the white neoliberal establishment because he wants to be one of them. However, he will never be one of them, and they don't end up finding out until it's too late. But these people who protect actual white supremacy within the left, Vaush, another one. Vaush should not have a career. His channel should be dead. But yet, he can get away with saying racist shit after transphobic shit. And he's still here. And the Kasparian, still here. Elizabeth Warren still around after what we saw her what she did with the indigenous Americans. Do y'all think that this is a coincidence that these white people who, I mean, out themselves regularly as like I don't say unapologetic racist, they're racist, and sometimes they might apologize, but it isn't genuine. They like black people who can. They'll throw Nina Turner or they'll throw Cornel West out there, and every now and then they'll praise Killer Mike. They used to love Bree, but the moment any of those people stop moving in lockstep with them or the white neoliberal or white neo-progressive establishment, what do? Y'all saw what they tried to do to Bree. Didn't really work out in their favor, but they tried it. Right? You saw what they tried to do to me. You see what they tried to do to Fee. That's because, like I was saying, the progressive movement is racist. It uplifts racists because it is a racist movement. Any movement where anybody can tell you, why do you think Jordan Sheridan was so comfortable voting for Joe Biden? That's because Jordan is also a racist, and so is Jen. And I would like for you to go tell them I said that, please. Because if you notice, when Jen Perlman comes into not Jen Perlman, my apologies, Jen, his little partner, she came into my mentions just pearl clutching. She said, I've liked Pasta and Fiorella. I've considered Pasta and Fiorella to be my friends, but I've never liked you. Well, you've never known me, Jen, and me and Pasta and Fiorella have the exact same views with very few variations. Like anybody who's met all three of us knows that all three of us, we have almost the exact same views. Yeah, but I don't like you. It's interesting. Once again, literally don't know who you are. Never heard of you. Don't really care about your existence, but you for some reason don't like me. I wonder why that is. You know why. Because our movement is racist. That's why racist blue checks can say and do what they want. They can accuse black people of being Nazis, people. And look what happened. Look what happened. We got Nomiki literally donating to white supremacists. And if you are not a racist and you understand what a dog whistle is, then like the rhetoric that some of these people engage in the way that in the people that they choose to go after, it's very in the way. And even if, so say for example, they might go after Jimmy Dore and it might go after me in the same video, but if you notice, they don't use the same rhetoric when it comes to Jimmy as they would for like me. Like Jimmy isn't a narcissist. Niko's a narcissist. Jimmy, they call Jimmy a misogynist, which is weird. But that's not a racist trope. But Niko is a narcissist. Niko he doesn't actually have the qualifications, even though I'm the most qualified once again. In this little progressive movement sect, there's no person more qualified to talk about this shit than I am. Literally. Check the resume. And that's why they actually don't like us. Because there is nobody more qualified with the experiences that we have. And we just happen to not put up with TYT's bullshit or their narratives. And we won't allow our plight from our experiences being black, being Latina, being a woman, being whatever. Or if you ask Pasta, being Italian. But we don't allow our experiences to be co-opted and then just ignore it to chase clout. Because a lot of these people ignore the racism, the blatant racism from these major media or talking heads or major influencers just because they want to try to get inside. I'm just saying, y'all. Y'all want to hear some of the other shit she was saying? Some of the other dog whistles? We can play a few more. Let me tell you what she said about, like, so they read my my bio in the beginning, which she knew. But as she began getting schooled, and this is, if anybody watched any of my other debates, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There is a certain point that everyone reaches when they debate me, that they realize maybe I should have prepared more, but I chose not to, because it's a black guy where I am rendering my opinion about their understanding of whatever we're discussing based on a few tweets and what other people have said about said black guy. So I'm not going to prepare. I'm going to come in thinking that I can just rhetorically outwit him, and neither of those things are true. If you don't prepare and you think you can rhetorically outwit me, then you're just going to be embarrassed. Now, you see a lot of people have been embarrassed, and when they get embarrassed by other white guys, they're just like, they have to take it, and there might be a heated argument over whatever that issue is. Now with me, they don't like it, and they immediately begin to condescend, and what you will hear is that happen again right here. Let me pull this up for y'all.
Why we need to organize outside of social media, get people's literal mailing addresses. If, you know, maybe that's not the greatest idea, but PO boxes, set up things like that, phone numbers, way to contact people without social media involvement. I feel like if the main goal was organizing instead of making Donald Trump the victim in a narrative about censoring Donald Trump, I would say we should try to best protect ourselves against what is coming. We do not have any power right now when it comes to big tech. We don't. If all of humans stopped using them, maybe we'd have a little bit of power. We should try to organize something like that. We should try to get all of the people we agree with on ways that aren't Twitter for communicating. Slack, Discord, right? IRC chat rooms. We should be trying to excise ourselves from big tech as much as we can. And now, again, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't watch all of your y'all's content, but I'm not seeing that from this Trump censorship crowd. I'm not seeing the counter strategy or what to do.
Yeah, you would be wrong. I'm not saying that you did it on purpose, but I know there's a lot of content out there. But yeah, you would be wrong. That's all we do. That's how we got our show. Is because we organized.
Okay. Well, I mean, hey, all I know about you is that you did a film about how Antifa are causing problems. This is just from what stuff sent me. I don't really know you, so I know.
She just did her stuff. You heard that? Oh, this is just from people that stuff sent me. So people sent you stuff. You didn't decide to do your own research. Your biggest talking point was Niko went on to Jack Pozovic's documentary to say that we have to question Antifa's motives when they're saying they're not an organization. Whenever Antifa, the original one, once again, the one that was inclusive with black people, the one where the Black Power fist originated from, the one that started in Italy in the 1930s, that Antifa wasn't. There was an organization. It was not an idea. So there's that. Then there's the reality that they didn't mask themselves because they knew that it was important to have accountability and responsibility for your movement, because if you're fighting fascists consistently, then you have to pick and choose when you're going to fight them. And you can't be doxxed for fighting fascists if you're doing it consistently, unless you're an op, right? Also, that's how movement gets infiltrated, right? Oh, it's not an idea, or it's not an organization, it's an idea. Yeah, so why the hell do we have cops infiltrating this current Antifa? And then once again, I said, where was y'all at when Jacob Blake's decision was made last week? And matter of fact, where were y'all at before Donald Trump took over? Where were y'all in Ferguson? Speaking of which, I know why she was, cause I said, where were they at in Ferguson? Where were they at in Standing Rock? And she was just kind of ignored it. Because she doesn't believe what happened to those black people in Ferguson was actually fascism. So what she means is fascism is only when someone I don't like disagrees with me, and I can get clicks for talking about it.
You are a Tulsi person, and I know that you organized a recent event that got 50 people. So as far as I understand, and now again I could be wrong, and I'm not trying to be a personal attacker, but as far as I understand, you don't really have these bona fides to be like a big organizer that
Okay, so once again, I just once again, this is bad faith, right? We just did a whole introduction. Okay, so like since you want me to break it down, once again, I started the largest Bernie Sanders organization in the country, like as a senior in college, while simultaneously running the entire state for Bernie Sanders as also a senior in college, and I was a surrogate for multiple campaigns, and I've organized not only in Florida but in California and New York, and I started a DNC fraud lawsuit based on with an investigation team that once again just got taken all the way to the Supreme Court. I've been a consultant. I've been a strategist. I've organized more in a 2-week time frame than you've probably organized in ever. So like
that's probably true.
This whole idea that you somehow have the answers when I've literally been on the ground, not only finding the answers as an investigative journalist, but then once I find those answers, organizing around them to make sure that we can do things like force the vote. If you think it's funny to talk about the fact that when Jackson Hinkle organized this event and then you went out there for Medicare for All, that's an indictment on you. That's an indictment on people like Nomiki, who's in your comment section right now, who said that Jimmy Dore is
yeah. But you see that, right? You see that. She wants to, once again, they're alleging that Jack is a neo-Nazi, which is not true. It's not true. Like you can say Jack, once again, Jack's a conservative. He's a populist conservative. So we have our disagreements, but Jack is not even close to a neo-Nazi. Two of his favorite politicians are Nina Turner and Tulsi Gabbard. That's just like not how neo-Nazis work. But y'all got this. These are the spokespeople for Bernie Sanders, yo. Like people like have been trying. I've been saying this was a problem for 2 years now. I said this before. I was like, man, you know, it's crazy. I remember working in Bernie Sanders' campaign versus working when I did start working with Tulsi's campaign. I'm like, yo, Tulsi's entire staff is diverse, and it's not on purpose. It's just like she gets the best person possible for the job. And it just happens to work out that it looked like a damn rainbow coalition at the top of her campaign. That's generally how your administration is going to be ran. But like the people who were considered to be the speaking heads, like the decision makers within the campaign, are almost always white. Yeah, they threw some people out there to make it look like they were diverse, but in actuality, that wasn't the case. And there's multiple people that can confirm that. There was a whole article written about that. Jamal Green discussed that. He said the same thing. I said if they would have listened to Nina Turner instead of just marching her out there, there would have been a lot of different ways they could have won this election, even with the rigging. These are the spokespeople. She got like the audacity to question my bona fides and do it with just such a smug and condescending look on her face, like, oh, I'm not trying to personally attack you, but I'm gonna personally attack you. And then like things braggadociously, yeah, y'all organized an event that got like 50 people a day out there. Yeah, for healthcare, and you were one of the ones not out there, and you were also one of the ones smearing an event about healthcare. You don't think that's a problem? You think that's actually something to brag about? These are the people, bro. And so some people, Nizar, let me get your super chat before I close up. Nizar G, thank you very much for the super chat. I've become a member of the speedrunning community for years. I have a trove of links about Andrea's white supremacist past. Damn. I sent Fee some and posted them in yesterday's debate video, post-debate video. Well, there you go. Go check it out. Go check it out. Man, you know what's crazy? None of the leftists that I hang out with used to be white supremacists. That's all I'm saying. But what was I gonna say before I get up out of here? Why did I do this debate? Because people ask me, why do I do these things? There's a reason I do these. So, Vouch, I was able to expose as a racist, condescending prick. Now, have you noticed, once again, my video with him, my debate video with him, is the only one he won't put up on his page, and he won't debate another leftist ever again because I exposed him. And then everybody else started doing their research about him, and they figured out, oh shit, he's a racist. This person, who after reading a few of her tweets and watching a couple of videos, I was like, oh, here we go again. Here I go, exposing people again. You think that I actually thought that she was going to be able to debate me in any substantive way? No. Listen to her. Listen. Can't possibly. But I need people to see what type of people are attacking actual leftists. It's these type of people. The ones who are projecting, claiming that every person of color who disagrees with them, every black person who disagrees with them, must be a Nazi sympathizer or a fascist. They must be a Trump supporter. This is projection. Nomiki talking about fascists have infiltrated the movement. You're absolutely right, Nomiki. I'm glad we agree. And you're literally giving money to one. You're using them in your thumbnail and using their tweets. So yeah, fascists have infiltrated the movement. You're supporting them. And by your definition, that would make you one of them. Which wouldn't be all that surprising considering somehow you were in Libya helping people right before Gaddafi is overthrown. And, we know how your family is well connected with some of the political elite around this world. So I'm, wondering how you got there. But that's a different discussion for a different day. So, Nomiki, if you're going to claim people like a person like Jimmy Dore is taking money from Steve Bannon in a random drunk tweet in the middle of the night thinking no one's going to see it, if you're going to claim something like that, maybe you should do your due diligence on the people that you're giving money to. Because you know what's worse than accidentally getting money from Steve Bannon? Accidentally giving it to Steve Bannon and then using them in your videos and actually uplifting fascists, because basically that's what you just did. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, join Tulsi. Thank you for the super chat. DJ Elf7, join Tulsi Locals. Be easy, Niko. Yeah, I know I still have to join it. I do have to join it. I've been trying to, I'm doing all this stuff, good stuff, great stuff actually. We got big stuff in the works, by the way, over the next week or so. Cannot wait to roll it out for you guys. But I know I need to join Toast Locals, but I know if I get in there, I'm gonna be mad distracted like a whole 24 hours. So I gotta be careful. So when I get in there, I'm gonna do it when I got some time in. I got some free time. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Appreciate you guys. You can support the show by becoming a patron on Patreon, becoming a Rockfin premium member, which you can do by scanning that Rockfin QR code or going to the link in the description below and be endorsing the channel, where you can get everybody's premium content. And of course, our Thursday show that we do every Thursday from 5 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern. And then, or you can just give us a one-time donation on Cash App if you don't want to do anything monthly. So, all right. So you can scan those and you're good to go. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance.